Hello and welcome to today's online Q&A with actors David Neilson and Chris Gascoyne. We're here at home in Manchester where Chris and David are currently starring in Samuel Beckett's Endgame. I'm Helen Nugent, I'm the editor of the Northern Soul website, and I'll be putting your questions to David and Chris, so please keep them coming in. You can tweet home, which is Home Manchester, I'll spell it for you, home capital letters _MCR, and using the hashtag AskEndgame. So thanks for coming in this day of pretty foul weather outside, typical Manchester, drizzle, snow, wind. I came to see the play last night, I thought it was wonderful. Tell us a little bit about it for people that don't know anything about Endgame.
Go on, mate.
Well, it's a play about two people who are trapped together. They can't live with or without each other. They want to leave, but there's nowhere else to go.
Right, so it's a real cheery play then.
Oh, it's
it's funny.
It's funny. Some of it's funny. I mean, it's a bleak look at life.
Yeah.
But I believe there's some accuracy in that.
Yeah. And so, how did you two first become involved in doing this play?
Go on.
Okay. I did Waiting for Godot 8 years ago, and
Was this at the Library Theatre?
Yeah. And Chris was talking about that when we were in the green room at Coronation Street, and was talking about this play and particularly Clov, which Chris had always wanted to play, and it started from that, really, just a little chat, and we just started reading it, just really to sort of, because they're great words, they're great. It's a great exercise, if nothing else, as an actor. So it's just sort of gained momentum, and obviously here we are now, and
we're in it now.
We're in it, right in it now. Yeah, it's his fault. That's all I'll say. It's his fault. Although it's quite a success, so actually it was my idea.
Oh, right.
But,
and what's it like playing here at home, this new £25 million arts centre for Manchester?
Fantastic. It's fantastic. You can't turn that camera around and see that set. It's just brilliant. Can you? No, it's just magnificent.
We'll send you the link to the site where you can see all the
pictures.
Yeah,
you should see it. It's great.
Yeah.
No, it's a lovely theatre.
It's a good building as well. The building's alive all the time. There's movie houses and everything. There's a theatre and bars, restaurant, everything. It seems to be open. People seem to be here on their laptops and doing, people frittering away time.
It's very lively, and I think it's a great asset to Manchester. Home.
Yeah.
That's Walter, the artistic director, trying to do new theatre, bring new theatre, a new way of looking at things, and I think it's fantastic. It's very young at the moment, and
still
some
quite a
people,
year old, actually.
No, and still some people don't even know that. I'd say the taxi would take me, to home, but the home, and people still don't know. So, and I hope it will in 10 years, or 5 years, it'll be spoken of very differently once it's bedded in. I think it's an amazing venue for the films and the theatre, and the whole thing has been a great package. So we're very pleased to be here.
And just going back to Beckett, then, perhaps you could each tell me how you first came across this playwright.
Well, he was on a bookshelf, and I picked the book up and I read it.
Which one was it?
Which bookshelf? No, sorry. It was Waiting for Godot, and I read it when I was probably about 19.
Yeah.
And it's like people say, what's it about? You realize it's about the relationships, and it's about those particular interchanges between people. Don't look for there are obviously bigger meanings, but that's don't fret about that. You just like watch this. It's like life, nobody understands life. We all pretend to, but it's so that's really what it is. And you just witness it, and some of it will speak to you and some of it might not, and it depends what's happening in your life. It's I keep saying, it's like looking at a painting, you get something from it each time. He's a great, he is an absolute genius.
Yeah. And what about you, Chris?
I first came across him, I think at drama school, and kind of felt, that I like this work. I kind of get it, and I didn't know why. And then as I got older and certain things had happened in my life, you know, what we would say are bad things, you know, people passing away or life becoming difficult, I got him more. And I found a kind of, I found some comfort in the darkness of Beckett in an odd way. I've always, you know, loved Samuel Beckett. So over the last 25 years, I've returned to Beckett, and it became more deeper for me, more profound and more funny.
And what kind of challenges do you think Beckett poses for audiences, particularly people who might not be familiar with his work?
Oh, blimey, that's
I don't think it is a challenge. I mean, I think the challenge is overcoming all that academic sort of baggage that he has to carry around. And there's more words written about Beckett than he ever wrote. You know, there's people who've got whole careers writing about Beckett and little see. I met somebody in the bar last night, and they said, somebody said, I'm with so and so, and they're an expert on Beckett. I said, all right. And apparently there's two versions. I said, no, there's not. That's one version. So somebody's actually getting a living from saying there's two versions. I don't know. I mean, there's all this stuff that comes out, and and really, as I say, it's like if you go and see a Picasso painting, you can just go on. I mean, the thing is, this is an hour and a half. You can just glimpse a Picasso and walk away. I get that bit, but that's really that's the thing. And the thing is, he's not written it to confuse you. He's not written it in order to sort of it's just there as a piece, and I don't think there is a challenge for the audience. I think the challenge is just to be receptive. Just go be receptive, and you'll get something from it. That's
Beckett used to say, if you want to work it out, then supply your own headache tablets, your own aspirin. And I think that's the thing. But there's certainly, to me and David playing it, you know, we're playing the characters, so we're keeping it active. We're not you can't play philosophy. And like David said, it's depending on which I love about Beckett. It's about the individual audience member. Collectively as an audience, it's not that play. It's not a play that you can come and just enjoy, or you can, you know, it's about you. You know, and that's
and for an actor to play it, we've played like 3 weeks up in Glasgow, and now we're here for 3 weeks. It's great because there's always something we're finding, and always. I mean, every night it's like moment by moment. You don't do the whole thing. You go moment to moment, interchange to interchange, listening, and when we get into little holes, which one occasionally I usually put us in.
I think David decided last night to just simply not say a few bits.
We just dig each other out.
No, he just thought. No, he's not going to say that word. So that happens very rarely, actually.
But I did think it. I said, he said, you weren't going to say it tonight. I said, yeah, but I was thinking it. So
and then I said, no, well, tomorrow night, can you say it? It'd be a lot easier.
Really, just plays tricks on your mind. It's a beautiful piece. So it's not like something you're going to get kind of bored with and think, oh, I can do this.
Never.
I'm never confident.
And you're both on stage for a lot of the time as well.
Well, he's on stage for the whole hour and a half. You have to
sit very still. I mean, is it quite draining then?
It's a journey. I mean, it's like nothing else I've ever done. I can't see anything. I mean, literally can't see anything
because your glasses are blacked out.
Yeah,
and the lights,
and the light. And they've sprayed the front of the glasses so that the lights don't reflect out. So it's just listening to Chris and timing it.
And I can't. Obviously, it's very disconcerting. I've never been in a play where you can't see the other actor's eyes. So we can't communicate in that way. And even the guys who are brilliant, actually, Peter Kelly and Barbara Rafferty, who play the parents in the dustbins. I have eye contact with each of those for about 3 seconds in the play, and I really look forward to it.
And there's lots of famous lines in Beckett, and particularly in Endgame, and also Waiting for Godot, which we've mentioned. Now, one of the most famous, of course, is nothing is funnier than unhappiness. Is that a sentiment you agree with? What do you think, David?
Well, I mean, if you look at any great comedies, it's you look at Faulty Towers, and you know, then the guy's having a nervous breakdown, isn't he? I mean, he's in a state, and I mean, there's no. I mean, I suppose there are, you know, Last of the Summer Wine, but I don't find that very funny. It's the darker, and yeah, people's misfortune, as long as it's somebody else's, not your own. It's hilarious.
Okay, and now just to remind everyone watching, do keep tweeting your questions. The address is home_MCR and use the hashtag AskEndgame. And we have a question here from, I think this, Love Chris and Ali, I think is your Twitter handle. Thanks for your question. So this
is for you.
So let's ask you, what in this play then, what's your favourite line of dialogue? Let's go to you first, Chris.
Cool, blimey. There's so many, I mean, and so many things to ponder on, but I do like the end is in the beginning, yet we go on.
Yeah,
I do like that. I think that sums the whole play up for me.
And what about you, David?
You're on Earth, there's no cure for
Yes, I liked that last night as well. And he said it more than once.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
to other people, he says it to other people.
Well, some nights he does.
I'm thinking it. It's coming across. You get what you pay for.
Okay, this is from Jimmy Smallwood. Thank you, Jimmy, for your question. He says he saw the show last night, Bravo, and he works for a disability charity and impairment, and he knows that this is a recurring theme in the play. He wants to ask you, David, what are the challenges when acting blind?
Well, I've never done it before. I mean, it's very difficult. It's just very. It's unlike, as I say, anything else I've ever done. The challenge is, I mean, we were in the hands of a good director. Because the first time we did it, I had a airplane blindfold on, and we did the run through. It was 1 hour 52, and I thought I was excellent, but I did say it all. And but he said, you know. What happens is that you go into yourself. It becomes very internal. So you have to keep on it, keep pressing it, because otherwise it becomes sort of quite. It goes in and so anyway, the next run we took 20 minutes off it without cutting a line. That's a lot of time, you know. So we got it down to an hour and a half.
How did you do that? Just speeding it up?
Get kick up the backside, really. Yeah, basically.
Okay.
But do you feel like you're constantly in your own head?
Isolated. Yeah. And I had no nerves. I haven't been on stage for 8 years. I thought, oh, because normally you get a bit nervous. I think one thing being not being able to see, and the other is that there's just so much to do and to concentrate on and to screw up if you're not, if you're not on it. That there was no actual gap. There's no space to be nervous. I mean, obviously, I'm not relaxed, but it's like you've got to be on it. And we are every night, aren't we?
Yes.
Before we go on, we always say, see you on the other side.
That's right.
And that's it. We all take our own journeys through. Again, like life.
Yeah.
You know, everyone is and everyone's got their own restrictions. And Beckett's always got that, those sort of, you know, what people with disability live with, or everybody lives with some sort of restriction.
Even the dog.
The dog's got 3 legs.
Is a disability. Everybody has a disability. Beckett wasn't interested in what we would say.
He liked flawed individuals.
He liked abnormal. He didn't want normal.
Yeah.
He didn't understand normal.
Well, this question here from Rachel Wrights, which thank you, Rachel, for your question. She says, hello, David and Chris.
Hello.
She says, do you feel your performances have changed much since rehearsals finished? We've touched on it a little bit, but can you say there are any fundamental differences?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, so we're told.
Yeah.
We're told that they change, but it's been I think an organic thing for me and David, and we're not aware of it. And you can't. I was saying to somebody last night, it's not like I can ever get better at this play. Yeah. It's just that today's a different day, and it will be different tonight.
Yeah.
And we'll be in that moment. The audience react differently. Sometimes David's different. I'm different. David will play a line a certain way. I react to it. We do the same thing. So in that way, yeah. I mean, in that way, it organically has to change, and you can never be on the back foot with it and take it for granted. You have to front foot, listen all the time, and stay in.
And you don't know whether the place goes round and round. You don't know whether they don't do this every day. You know, so in a way, each
we
performance,
do.
we do.
We actually do.
So
that
is like it
that
goes
was my
on.
reading of it. That was just one day on a loop.
Except two people do die in this.
Yes, that's true.
So it has moved on.
Yeah.
So there is something different.
There is something different.
That obviously they're the same day after day.
Was it tempting to perhaps choose to do Waiting for Godot, which is much better known?
I've done it.
Oh, you've done it. Okay, you've done it already.
And they did it in Edinburgh really well very recently. So, and Dominic, who we wanted to work with, wasn't interested in doing that. Yeah, he did.
Godot's a very different play.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is this doesn't rely on the camaraderie and love. This is darker. This is darker and
it's more difficult. And difficult in terms of, not difficult. I mean, they're all difficult to do, but it's less well known.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Beckett's favourite play, I think. So I've heard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is a question here from Stevie Dawson. Thank you, Stevie, for your question. Someone said that this is the funniest interpretation of Endgame that they've seen. Was that your intention?
No.
I laughed a lot last night.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but you can laugh, but it's not an intention to be funny. It's an intention to.
Oh, that's nice.
That's I mean, it is funny because it's written. I mean, he goes into slapstick and sort of silent movie areas and absurdity along with everything else. But no, I mean, yeah, that's good. I mean, I'm glad people laugh because you do need that.
There were, but do you know the strange thing is if you and it does happen, if you start to play the comedy, you get nothing. Silence. It's weird, but if you just, because to them it's not funny. So if you just play that, the audience laugh because then it's real. But if you start to think, oh, we'll play the comedy, which is easy to drop into, it doesn't work. I can't explain it any more than that, really.
And this is from Lee, SPR13, I think. Hello, Lee. Thanks for dropping question in. Lee says, oh, I assume it's a boy. Apologies if not. Performing Beckett can be bad for your health. Lee says. Were any of the cast injured, hobbling up ladders or squeezing into bins?
Yes, I think all them things, physically, mentally, and spiritually, it's damaging. It is, and certainly physically.
Have you fallen off any of those ladders?
I've not been far off one night.
You do a very good wobble at the top.
Thank you very much. I like me wobbling.
Yeah. As someone who's afraid of heights, I completely sympathise with that.
But yeah, no, I mean, I have to have get a bit of an osteopath session every couple of days, and
because you've got a limp in it, and you're very
everything. He's a poor specimen.
You get to sit down, so that's okay.
I'm sat there, very nice.
It's all right for him. I wheel him about.
I didn't have to learn any moves. I
said to him last night before we went on, because David at one point touches me and I'm pouring in sweat, and I said to him last night, "Are you hot in that dressing gown and all this?" And he went, "No."
I'm not doing anything.
Does he get the first drinks in at the bar?
Yes, he does, actually. Believe it or not. Yeah.
And that's tactical. He just stays in his dressing room until I've got to the bar.
Well, we've got another question.
Oh, you've got me.
There's a little bit of strategy going on there. Right, next question. We have a question from EL Heinz. They say, hi, Chris and David. They say, how did you go about preparing for the play? Did you read any literature, for instance, outside of the text itself? David?
Yeah, bits and pieces. But I mean, essentially it's on the page. Essentially, it's in those words and that punctuation. He's so precise that everything's been worried. Going back to the painting analogy, it's like every comma, it's there. There's not a spare syllable or anything. So it's essentially it's all there. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's a whole world of Beckett, and as I say, there's,
as you said earlier,
billions of words written about
the philosophy, the Shakespeare, the rhythms. I looked into all that, and I enjoyed.
You went to Paris, didn't you?
Yes,
went to Paris.
I went to Paris, where Beckett lived and all that. And I went to see a production in Paris of Endgame,
because it was in French initially, wasn't it?
Yes, he wrote in French.
You paused by his grave.
I did. Paused by simple grave, just said Samuel Beckett and the dates, and nothing else. But yeah, I mean, I did a lot. I did read up a lot and you know, look at all the philosophy in the play and everything else, and it was absolutely fascinating. You realize there is not one word on that page that doesn't have meaning. But then when,
this is why I leave them out.
Yeah. But then when we stood up at the first day of rehearsal, all that went. It was like I just felt like that doesn't matter now. We've got to try and perform it, to find a way to perform it. So that kind of went out the window.
And Dominic Hill then takes over, doesn't he? He does
The
director.
director.
Oh yeah,
that's brilliant.
Brilliant director. Yes.
And a question here from Carl Shelton 123. Thank you for your question, Carl Shelton 123. Now, David said he wanted to do Endgame to recharge. Do you feel recharged?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I feel really, it's done everything I wanted it to do. It's been amazing, absolutely amazing. I mean, if we could have sort of imagined it or written it for ourselves, the whole experience, we wouldn't have got it as good as this. It's been fantastic. All the people we've worked with, everyone involved,
the people we've met,
brilliant.
The conversations we've had.
Yeah.
And were you friends before?
Living together. Well, we were. We're not anymore.
Maybe if you get to the bar quicker.
We've got, if you could just do that one time. No, it's been great.
We lived together in Glasgow for 7 weeks.
Yeah,
right.
I was on his settee because my digs were awful.
It was like being students at drama school.
I moved
again.
in
It was
with
brilliant.
him. It was great.
He didn't like me eating his biscuits though.
Oh yeah,
he'd got a problem with that, and I used his red mug one night, and he didn't.
What kind of biscuits?
Chocolate
biscuits.
digestive.
He introduced me to dark chocolate digestives,
Really?
and I couldn't stop.
At 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what Beckett does to you.
Yeah,
makes you eat chocolate biscuits
at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Gone.
Yeah. And he didn't like me having his red mug either. That he got a bit not very nice about that.
No, it was a bit good for you.
We're learning all sorts here from David and Chris. Okay, let's go to another question. Again, this is Love, Chris and Ali again. They seem very keen on what you have to say.
Love you too.
They say you work so brilliantly with Alison King. Has she seen the play?
Yeah, she saw it last night.
Yeah.
There was a bit of a contingent in last
night.
There
was,
from Coronation Street.
Yeah.
We didn't know there was a lot of people in last night.
Yeah.
So it seems like every night, but there was, my agent was in as well, and all the people from Corrie and
and Julie
Hess.
Haley,
with her husband Ian.
Yes. So it was
with
nice
her haircut like his.
Because she's just done Wit at the Royal Exchange.
Which we missed,
which
because we were up
was
in
fantastic.
Glasgow.
Shame we missed it. So Ali, she saw it last night, and I think it was a bit strange for her to. She's not quite sure of the haircut, and she's not quite sure.
But the beard.
Or the beard,
she enjoyed it. She, I didn't really get much of a chance to talk to her.
I sat quite near them. There was lots of laughter, and they seemed to be enjoying it.
Good.
Just before we go on to some more questions, just don't forget you can keep tweeting your questions to Home Manchester, which is home_MCR, using the hashtag AskEndgame. Just to perhaps have a chat about the difference between stage and television acting. You'd mentioned that, of course, you felt recharged by this, and has it been 8 years or something since you've been on stage? And Chris, you too. I mean, what are there some sort of fundamental differences you can tell us about?
Well, my thing about being recharged is just playing a different character. I mean, it's completely different to the character of Roy Cropper. So it's doing a piece. What I wanted was a classic play, which this is, in good company, which I've got, with a great director, which I've got, all that. And then I'm the only thing that can go wrong. That's what I needed.
Right.
Because so then you're, it's just you. And that's been the challenge of actually breaking out of one, restriction. So it's the character has in Coronation Street, the way he is restricted, which any character will be. So it's just being able to break that and go into a different area. And then as far as acting, it's different, because again, this is a classic text. You can go over it and over it and over it and never get to the bottom of it. Whereas with something like Coronation Street, which is excellent writing, but is written quickly, obviously, but this has been refined over decades, this play. It's more skating the surface and making everything tie up and convincing an audience, that there are 4 serial killers in this street, and yet you can still all go to the pub together. It's
that's why I moved.
Yeah, no,
I knew there was something happening.
It's completely different, but one is not better or worse than the other. They're just completely different.
Yeah. And what do you think, Chris?
I think for me, it's just the immediacy, the adrenaline, the fear of doing a stage play is you don't get that in TV.
Yeah. Do you get nerves before you go on?
Oh yeah. I mean, I that fight or flight mechanism kicks in at its greatest. That's the only time in my life it kicks in, unless my life's in danger somewhere, and that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And I know that I want to run. I'm not a fighter. I want to run. That's the thing, but I can't because I've got to do it. Yeah. And I think that's the drug. And also that you're putting yourself on the line. There's nobody can fix it for you. And
you can't do it again once because you're sitting there with a live audience.
That's right. Yeah. So, and also to be able to be in the rehearsal room and work on this play is a privilege, and also you get to know people. You get to know people. There's like TV, the other actor, it doesn't have to be that personal. We can act together, but there's a distance. We can stop. They can, they don't need the other actor there. Some people, but on there, I only have David. I have to rely every night 100% on another actor. It's about David.
That's right.
It's about him.
Yeah. It's our relationship
every night. Not about what I do. So that's the difference, I think.
And we have another question here from, I think this is Tina Westfall. Tina, thanks for your question. Now she wants to know, do you think there's a way to bring a play to a digital world? So online performances, or would the work just lose too much doing that? Is it better to be here?
I think it's a theatre piece. I think this is a theatre. There are you can get this various versions on YouTube, which lack, I don't know, they lack an audience, don't they? And it's sort of
yes,
it's different. This is a theatrical piece, so it's for
you could possibly do it. I mean, they do the National Theatre and stuff live. Maybe you could. That might have something with the audience.
With an audience there,
I think that's a good idea. I think it would be a good idea for more plays to be shown like that.
Yeah, I've seen many London productions like that in theatres in Bury and Manchester.
Because it's just
but you don't get that. I've seen them here because they do them here, and I've sat in the audience and it's great, and you get the close-ups and all that. But afterwards, you hear the audience in London or wherever, standing up and applauding, and everyone just gets up. And
I was a bit jealous when I can hear them.
It's not had the same. It's not.
No, you're not there.
You've got an idea of. It's like watching. If you watch football match on the telly, it's great. You get all the angles and everything, but it ain't the same as being
the atmosphere.
It's not, you're not getting that personal sense that you're there, and you've got your own view of it.
And before we go back to questions from the guys watching us, just a sort of general question for you, because we'll have quite a lot of aspiring actors and drama students watching today. What kind of tips would you give to young actors today? I know it's a very wide question. But
it's also difficult because the business, since I've been in it, it's just changed completely. So I don't know what it's like, what it can be like to be a young actor today. I mean, you need luck and perseverance, really. You need to keep showing up, and if you can, go to the best drama school you can. I think
you both went to the same drama school.
We did,
right? Which one was that?
20 years apart.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
there's still signs of me there.
Oh yes,
they were still talking about.
all the time, all the time. I think perhaps that for a young actor, is there'll always be people, probably more talented or less talented than you, and but the thing is that there is not another you. And don't put yourself in competition. Just know that, and you're enough, and just keep working and keep practicing your craft and keep getting it wrong. And you'll get better at it. It is a craft, and it is something you've got to stay interested in and get better at and keep interested. And I think that's it, really. You're not in competition with anybody, like I say, and nobody is you. and be it good or bad, but nobody is you.
That's a good note, because I did some stuff in drama schools, teaching and auditions and stuff at RADA and Central, and you got young people coming in pretending to whoever was vogue at that moment, being Robert De Niro or being, you know, I remember what Julie Walters was just started, and you know, it was like, you know, it seemed to influence everyone was doing Educating Rita and had that accent, and you go, no, because if you want that, we've already got it, you know. And it is finding, I mean, it's dead right. And also it's a marathon. It depends, you know, if you're in this game, you know, it's if you can put up with the rejection, which you'll get, you develop a taste for being rejected, you'll do all right.
Well, Dominic said to me when we were doing this, and at points, you know, I said to Dominic, you know, what do I need to do? I'm not missing this and missing that. And he said to me, stop trying to be interesting.
That's a good advice.
He said,
good advice for life, actually.
Stop trying to be interesting. You're interesting enough.
Yeah.
It's okay. And we all, as actors, certainly young actors, we will emulate people. We do have people that, you know, when I was a young actor, I wanted to be like, or I aspired to, or I found a likeness in them. And then as you get older, you actually can sort of become yourself, which is very freeing. But still, even doing this now at 48, the director had to tell me, basically, stop trying to be interesting. And you still were all afflicted with, I want to be more than I am. And actually, when you are just that, I think that's where it is. Yeah. You know.
And we have a question here from, this is a familiar name, Bren O'Callaghan. Thinking possibly might work here at home. Obviously avidly watching in the office behind the theatre here.
Back to
Hi,
work.
Bren. Bren wants to know, does Beckett still have relevance for contemporary audiences?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think it's got relevance for people of any time. There's been all sorts of, again, millions of books written about what it's all about, and it was written in the time of when we were expecting a nuclear confrontation and, you know, the end of the world in that way. But so that's sort of receded a bit, and will no doubt be back at some point. But now global warming, Syria, refugees, all this, you know, a world which we can destroy very easily. So yeah, it's absolutely relevant. And it's and you know, you've got a character there that I play, who has dominated and beaten and defeated everyone in a very, you know, sort of like capitalist way. You know, he's won, but there's nobody left, so he's actually lost, and the world is uninhabitable.
And what has he gained?
Gained nothing. Gained nothing at all. So, and the great thing Beckett's done with that is, with that character, he's not made him an industrialist or a banker or anything. He's made him an artist, a writer or something. You know, it's not easy. It's not like, they're destroying the world. No, we're doing it. It's ours.
And of course, you've got the universal human themes that run through all of Beckett's work, which are timeless.
Well, a play about life and death will always be here.
And marriage. No marriage is ever, you know. And when he said it was about his relationship with his wife, which was like, you know, we can't live with each other or without each other. It's sort of locked in this.
And we have another question from Carl Shelton 123. Thanks for keeping watching. They'd like to know, question to both of you, if you could act with anyone in the world, obviously apart from each other, who would it be and why? Chris, what do you think?
That's a difficult one. So many actors I'd like to act with. If I had to pick one who I would love to act with, would probably for me be Albert Finney.
Why is that? Because he's a wonderful actor.
Well, he inspired me to want to be an actor, and I loved all the working class films. Like, you know, the greatest one for me, I must have seen it, a sad bit of a nerd, but probably about 70, 80 times, Saturday night and Sunday morning. I know it word for word. And I just think he's brilliant, Albert Finney, you know. So him.
Okay, what about you, David?
I'm more into really the piece and the director, and you know, I mean, it's like Chris said, there's so many actors and wonderful actors that are I'd love to work with, but
is there a play then? Is there a specific play that you think now you've done this? You think,
well,
actually, yes,
yeah, but I mean, I'll keep that under wraps. There, yeah,
Okay.
there is one that I wanted to do prior to this, but the rights had gone, and maybe I'll do it. Maybe
Okay,
I'll
watch
do it
this
after this.
space. Watch
Maybe
this
I'll do it.
space.
No, I can't. I mean, Albert Finney. If it's a three-hander, I'll come in with Albert Finney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Albert,
Okay.
if you're watching.
There you go, Albert.
Yeah.
That's your next job.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And we have a question here from Ali King fan 4. Sorry,
Ali King fan. That's a funny name, isn't it?
Ali King fan.
And we sort of touched on this a bit, but we haven't really asked David about it. Do you still get nervous before every show? Or are you pretty chilled? I know you said that you want to run away.
No, I've not. I don't get. I've been surprised that I've not been because I had the last time I was on stage when I played Lucky and Waiting for Godot. I remember thinking before the first night, what am I doing? What am I doing? I've got a good job. They pay me well. And here I am. I just feel like I'm in a car crash.
It's Lucky, the one with the massive monologue.
Yeah.
It's been very good for me though, David, in that sense, because it's been very stabilizing for me that David's been like a rock.
Yeah.
He's been the company member who's in the middle. And if David would have gone to pieces, I don't know what happened to me. But he didn't.
No, I don't. But I've not felt it. I was waiting for it to happen, and I think it is because it's so mammoth, and because of the dark glass, as I say, playing it blind, it feels slightly removed, and it's very personal. That's why the thing about us doing it every night, it's like us doing it and the audience witnessing it rather than us playing out to it somehow. It's a very strange experience, but so I'm as I said before, I'm not sort of laid back about it. I'm working, but I'm not nervous. No.
Okay, and we have a question here from our very lovely bookshop called Shelton Bookshop.
Oh yes,
and the question is,
that's that Beach Road.
Yeah,
is it?
The question is, I think
there.
this. I'm pretty sure I know who's written this. Can Chris Gascoyne think of a local bookshop with a framed portrait of Beckett behind the counter?
Yes, I can.
I've given it away slightly by saying who the question's from.
You have.
Sorry.
You've done the punchline, haven't you, before the joke?
I think they're trying to suggest that that's one of your favourite bookshops.
It is my favourite bookshop, and I've bought many books from there. And I think I tried to buy the painting the picture off them once.
Did you?
I think
Would
so.
they not sell it to you?
No. It's a
End of question.
Beautiful.
Don't talk to them.
Right, we have a question here from again Ali. Ali
What?
King is Queen.
Is this Ali King
Ali King
doing all this?
Yes.
There's multiple Twitter handles, but well
Yeah,
done you.
you'll find it all traces back to her address.
She says that she's got a question for both of you. Yes, I think we know who this is. Chris, would you ever come back to Corrie?
Yes.
Yes. Well, there's your answer for that. And David, when are you coming back to Corrie? We miss you.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm back working in about 3 weeks. Back on screen in April sometime.
Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah.
Go back.
Yeah.
3-month break, is it in total?
Yeah, 3 months. Yeah.
But nobody's recognised him. It's been amazing. We've been around Glasgow, and even with this, I'm still getting it.
Got my glasses.
And he gets nothing.
Yeah.
We went to the pub one night. All these people come over, and they sat with us, and they're all talking to me and all that. And I was thinking, surely they must. And this lady turned around to David and said something about Coronation Street. And David went, "I don't watch it." And she went, "Oh."
You must get recognised in Manchester, though.
Have you been with the beard?
No.
Really?
No.
Because Roy would never have.
No, I wear the glasses and everything. Yeah. No. But my hair's growing back as well. I had it all cut off, but it's going back to Roy length because it's got, I've got to get rid of this and go back and be Roy. We're
nearly at an end. We've only got a few more minutes left, so we're going to one last question, which is we're getting into
from
the
Ali
we're
King.
getting into no, we're getting into the Corrie questions today. Probably believe this is the last one.
Okay.
Question to David. Will we ever see a poster for Endgame discreetly placed on the wall in Roy's roles?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't do the design. No, I know. I think they're separate worlds.
Okay. Well, it's time to wrap things up here. Thanks so much for all your great questions. Ali King, You were a trooper.
Yeah, thanks, Ali. Thanks, Ali.
And you can see David and Chris in Endgame here at home in Manchester until Saturday, the 12th of March. To find out more, visit the website homemanchester.org/endgame. I've been Helen Nugent from Northern Soul, and a big thank you for David and Chris for coming along today, particularly as they've got to go back on stage later on. Thank you
very
Have a
much.
good day.
Thank you.